Hello, this is Billy Core from the Nostalgia Mall, and today we're going to be using the Gateway 2000 P590, one of my favorite computers. And we're going to be using it for something quite atypical, I guess you could say, especially for this channel. I'm going to be attempting to install an operating system that I've never successfully installed on anything before. I've tried it on virtual machines and actual computers before, but it's just never worked out. But hopefully in this video we'll be able to successfully do this. The operating system in question is OS2 Warp 4. I have never successfully run any version of OS2 before in my life, and I thought that maybe today will finally be my day to install OS2 Warp. Now, I'm not going to use this as an everyday vintage OS. I use MS-DOS and Windows 3.1, 95, and 98 for that kind of stuff. But I figured installing OS2 Warp for a day would be a fun little project, especially for my channel. So you guys will get to see me tear my hair out as I try to figure out what to do. And so we have this very, very legal looking CD which contains OS2 Warp, along with these 3 floppy disks I made that came with it. One is labeled Installation, one is labeled Disk 1, and the other is labeled Disk 2. Now I'm not sure which one I need to use first, or if all of these disks are necessary. I'm going to assume that since this is the installation disk, that I need to put this in first and boot from it. So we will probably start off with that one first. And I'm using a spare CF card, a 2 gig CF card, just to so I don't harm my Windows 3.1 and 95 installs I use on this computer regularly. So let's go ahead and fire this up, and we'll start with this disk. Okay, I believe it is booting. It's not possible to boot from CD on this computer, but hopefully this will let us do something. You can see it says OS2 up here. It's taking over the BIOS screen there somehow. Okay, IBM OS2 Warp version 4 installation. Copyright 1996. Okay, remove the diskette from drive A and insert the OS2 diskette 1 into drive A. Okay, so we will take that out, and here is disk 1 right here, and we will pop that in the disk drive and press enter. Oh, that's lovely looking. I don't know if I even have any software that'll run on OS2, to be honest with you. There is a floppy disk version of OS2, but I don't have enough floppies to use, I believe. Okay, it stopped for a second, now it's going again. Okay, remove the diskette from drive A. Okay, put what's labeled as disk 2 in here, using a very complicated method of labeling these disks, something called sticky notes. Cool concept, huh? The C device is not ready. Okay, I do know that there's no partition table on the CF card, but I assumed it would allow me to partition it from install. So what's return error code to program? What does that do? Nothing. Okay, we're not getting anywhere with this. Escape does nothing. There is no escape. Okay, so first roadblock. We need to somehow partition this drive. I guess I'll have to do this with a third-party utility, so let me go grab a third-party utility. Okay, I booted into our old friend Acronis OS selector, where we will just create a very basic no-frills FAT16 partition and set it as active. And I will pop the OS2 installation disk back in, and we'll go ahead and let it partition. And we're booting back into the OS2 installer, and hopefully we'll have better blessings this time. Okay, I went through the boot disk off camera since we already saw that, but we've now gotten a step further, and it wants us to insert the OS2 warp CD-ROM into the drive. So we will do that, and hopefully we'll be able to read this. I don't see why this wouldn't be using a generic TAPI CD-ROM driver, so hopefully this will work. Okay, it's reading something, it looks like. Okay. Congratulations on your purchase of IBM OS2 Warp. OS2 Warp contains OS2 Warp version 4, bonus pack, voice type dictation for OS2 Personal Edition, Java, and the following powerful networking services that no one uses anymore except for TCP/IP probably. Okay, so we will continue. To begin the installation, select one of the following methods and press enter. Easy installation is intended for most users. You know, I'm feeling kind of brave. Let's do it advanced. Okay, some kind of error happened. Okay, it's not happy about something. It looks like it's the partition table again. Okay, something about F-disk being unsuccessful. Okay. Okay, this took us into some kind of interesting version of F-disk that I'm not used to. And it said it was corruptible, so let's see if we can partition this in the way that OS2 wants it to be. Let's see. I'm doing this completely blind. So there we go. Install. Okay, what does it want now? It's like all the options are grayed out for some reason. Okay. Wonder what the issue is. Oh no, now we gotta reboot. Okay, so what I've decided to do is I booted from a Windows 98 boot floppy, and we're going to use Microsoft's version of F-Disk to partition it. It's just, I think it's probably going to be a little bit cleaner than Acronis was. Okay, no partitions defined. I bet it's going to want to do FAT32, which we do not want to do. Usually it asks if you want to have a large drive support, but it's not doing that for some reason. Okay, just to guarantee that we'll be getting FAT16 instead of FAT32, I booted from a MS-DOS 6.22 floppy disk, so this will guarantee us FAT16 partition. Okay, let's see what it did. 504 megabytes? Well, that can't be right. It's a 2 gig CF card. Yeah, I had a feeling this would wind up being an ordeal getting OS 2 installed. Yes, seeing the disk is only 504 megabytes. Let me check what the BIOS is seeing. Okay, it's finally dawned on me why I think this is not working right. You see, I have a 15 gig hard drive in here alongside my CF card reader, and I use this 15 gig hard drive to keep my data, game files, and stuff for my Windows 95 install. And this computer can only see up to 8 gigabytes, so for that hard drive I have to have a some drive overlay software installed, and you also have to have it on the CF card as well. Even though the computer can see the 2 gigs just fine, it has to have the drive overlay software on there as well in order for the other drive to work. So what we need to do is install the drive overlay software onto the CF card, and hopefully that should take care of our pain and sorrow. This is Easy Drive, and yep, if you want Easy Drive to control the above drive, you need to install Easy BIOS on your C drive. Seriously, we gotta restart again. And now when I try to load the MS-DOS boot disk, I get this horrible error saying memory allocation error, cannot load command, system halted. You know, this video is going so well, isn't it? Okay, so I'm not very bright. When it rebooted a while ago during the Easy Drive setup, it actually put the drive overlay software on the CF card, and I didn't even know it. That's why I was getting that error with MS-DOS. So now that Easy BIOS is loaded, we can go ahead and boot from our DOS disk. Okay, let's go to F-Disk. Fingers crossed, everyone. We might not actually even have to do this, but it doesn't hurt to do it anyway. Okay, we'll create a partition, make it active. Let's make sure it's the proper size now. There we go, 2 gigabytes. Okay, we'll just go ahead and do a format. Again, this might not be necessary. OS 2 might be able to do this now with the drive overlay software installed, but it doesn't hurt to cover all bases. Okay, just about done formatting. No label this time. And we'll go ahead and reboot. This time making sure we boot via Easy Drive. Grab our OS 2 install disk again. And we gotta press Control before it tries to boot from a drive on its own. It should come up in a second. Okay, press A to boot from the A drive. Put the disk in. Hit A. And fingers crossed that we can actually get this installed this time. Okay, we're finally back at this screen, so let's see if we can get a little bit further this time, shall we? Okay, this is where it screwed up last time. Let's see. Requires a minimum partition size of 100 megabytes. Currently there are no partitions of at least this size on your hard drive. Well, I got a 2 gig partition on here, so it may be corrupted. Okay. Let's delete this partition. And it's not going to work, is it? Why can't it work? Why is partitioning so difficult with OS 2? I don't understand. Okay, maybe this will take care of it. Looks like it wants to do everything on its own. So, hey, let's just let it do its own way. I don't know why it didn't ask us to do this before. Okay, we gotta reboot again. At least we might be getting somewhere now. Okay, maybe it wants us to do this. Okay. Okay, I think I've lost count how many times we've had to reboot with this installation, but hopefully this will be it. Okay, this is new. OS 2 Warp 4 will be installed on drive C. That's good. We'll accept that. Let's see. A file system manages the information on a partition, yada yada yada. A high-performance file system in the file allocation table file system. You must select one for the partition where you will install OS 2 Warp 4. Just because I'm using a CF card, just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna go with FAT. These CF cards can be a little bit picky at times, so there we go. Look, it's booting. Or not booting, it's installing. Thank you for your purchase of OS 2 Warp, the most powerful and reliable operating system for personal computers available today. Yeah, OS 2, it was supposed to be the biggest thing ever. In fact, even Microsoft was working on it in the early days, but didn't work out for a variety of reasons. It's an interesting story, the development and failure of OS2. I recommend LGR's Tech Tales video about OS2 if you want to get the full scoop on everything that went down with OS2 back in the day. So it's installing relatively fast. This is a relatively fast CD-ROM drive I have in here, so that's helping things out as well. So almost halfway there. I'll pause and let it continue, and we'll catch you on the other side. Okay, it's apparently loading system files now. Progress bar wasn't quite at 100% yet, so don't know. Okay. False alarm, everyone. Go back to what you were doing. Okay, I think it's done. Another thing I forgot to mention about OS2 was certain versions. I don't know if this one is one of those, but apparently you could install this alongside Windows 3.1. Hence the old slogan, OS2 is a better Windows than Windows. So, of course, we're just installing this on a blank drive, so we won't be taking use of that feature even if it was here on this version. Okay, it's checking your workstation's configuration. That is mildly amusing there, that thing. Remove the diskette and press enter to restart the workstation and continue the installation. Okay, presumably it'll finally be booting from the C drive. Alright, fingers crossed. Alright, we got the splash screen. It's booting from the CF card. We're not quite there yet, but so far this has been the most successful installation attempt of OS2 I've ever had. And I feel like we're probably over the hill now. And it's probably going to be smooth sailing from here on out. Knock on wood. Okay, got a cursor here now. We got some kind of graphical user interface. It's creating objects and all kinds of good stuff there. We'll adjust the monitor there. All right, this is looking pretty good. All right. The following hardware and country choices are correct. Select next. Okay. This is not the United Kingdom. This is the United States. And this is a United States keyboard as well. Don't know why it defaulted to the United Kingdom. Okay, primary display SVGA ATI. I'm surprised it picked that up. The video card. This is indeed an ATI video card. And it even picked up the Sound Blaster 16 sound card in here, which I guess shouldn't be that surprising. It's probably the most standard sound card ever created. Everything looks good. Better than I thought. Yeah. Ultra Bay device swapping. That must be if you were installing this on an IBM ThinkPad of the era. Okay, so do not install printer. We do not have a printer hooked up to this computer, so the default settings will be used for one or more multimedia audio and or video device. We'll go with default settings. This is an ATI Mach 64, so we'll go with that and hope for the best. Make sure there is a check in the box next to the features you wish to install. You know what, we'll just give it everything. Wonder what WinOS2 support is. Don't know what that really is. Okay, add existing programs to your desktop. Select the services to install. Don't think we can use any of this on this computer. This computer does have a network card in it, but I don't feel like fooling with that on here. So it's going to complete the install, supposedly. I think we're good to go, really. The hard part is behind us. Looks like it's installing a few other things. Had my head turned and it was got installing stuff. Okay, install using defaults for monitor type. We'll go with that. Monitor might go blank, and there it went. It hasn't lost signal though. Hard drive LED is still blinking, so it's doing something. There we go. Alright, it's flying through setup now. Well, it was. Now it's slowed back down. Okay, here we go. I'm not very good with commentating, am I? Quit teasing me. I think it's installing video card stuff. Okay, this might be the final reboot, I'm hoping. There was another cool little part of setup that I tried to record, but not only was it not recording, the camera was actually turned off. Yeah, not one of my brighter moments in life. So this might be the first official boot up of OS 2. Funny how that takes over the BIOS info there. Okay, I like that splash screen. It's actually kind of cool. So it did load a driver for my network card. I just got a very standard 3-COM Etherlink 3 card in this computer, an ISA network card, so very simple to get drivers for. Okay, I think we're almost there. Well, sound works. But it looks like it's still copying some files over, so we've got to wait for that. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon if you would like. The link to all of these are down below. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.